Hello everypony, this is Nightlife again, and I've decided to start a brand new project. This one is called Vinyl and Octavia, the University Days, by Dawn Fade. Now, I've already done a little reading, and I'm only up to chapter 13 of the 15 current chapters that there are, and I've got to say it's really good. And it is tagged for romance, comedy, and slice of life. I can already tell this is going to be a very good story because I've already read a lot of it. Now, My Little Ponies. The reason I've read a lot of it is because each chapter is at least 2,000 words long, and it looks like after chapter 6 they ramp it up to 3,000 words per chapter. Now, this is a bit longer than the ones I usually do, so I'm still going to be doing them in single chapter intervals, but I might slip into an accent, because this is how I cope with my speech impediment. Now, let us begin with chapter 1 of Vinyl and Octavia University Days. The West Manhattan University grounds were impeccable, to say the least. Perched atop a huge plateau of grassland just outside the city proper, it was a marvel of engineering and art. The most obvious features were the Pegasus lecture theaters and labs that floated above the rest of the campus, the large bushy court in the center, dotted with trees and a small stream, and from which the rest of the university radiated outwards along two main paths that intersected in the middle, and of course the vast array of abstract art pieces littered at seemingly random places throughout the court. It was the beginning of a new year, and all of the first years were nervously shuffling about and glancing at maps, occasionally gathering the courage to ask for directions. All of the first years, that is, except for two. The first was an earth pony with fur like pale ash and a straight mane of charcoal. Around her neck was a pink bow tie attached to a white collar. It was the only piece of clothing she wore, but it was really all she needed to wear. Every single step she took was precise and official, and despite her comparative youth, she gave off the sense that she was much, much more sophisticated than any pony else there. That's not to say she was conceited. On the contrary, she was exceedingly polite and friendly to all who dared speak to her. She directed other first years to their rooms, having already memorized the entire campus guide herself, and helped others feel more at ease in the atmosphere that was so vastly different from the high schools many of them had recently graduated from, herself included. Her name was Octavia, and she was a cellist studying musical theory, classical, history, and strangely enough, psychology. I wonder if that would be any significance. The second pony was a white furred unicorn with an electric blue mane that spoke of 1,000 parties gone by and 1,000,000 to come. Covering her eyes were a pair of dark purple shades that hid everything and revealed nothing. She was walking confidently but carelessly, nodding to a beat that no pony else could hear. Those who approached her received a grin and a hoof bump. Those who didn't could only watch in admiration as she dominated the area around her without even saying a word. That's not to say she was controlling. On the contrary, she was extremely relaxed and easygoing whenever some pony spoke with her. She exchanged passing comments regarding bands and artists with other music enthusiasts who spotted her 6 hoof bands but never stayed for too long. A high school dropout, she was here on a lucky music scholarship and knew what she was talking about when it came to electronic tunes. Her name was Vinyl, and she was a DJ studying musical theory, modern, drawing, and strangely enough, psychology. Ooh, that seems interesting, doesn't it? They met for the first time outside a lecture theater, brushing shoulders as they left, neither saying a word, and they forgot about each other completely within minutes of it. A more lasting impression was made outside a tutorial room as they waited for their tutor to arrive. 23 ponies, including them, were also gathered in somewhat awkward silence. Determined not to simply be part of a crowd, Octavia turned to face the pony nearest her, which just so happened to be Vinyl. "Hello, I am Octavia. A pleasure to meet you," she said pleasantly, extending a hoof. Rather than shake it, the white unicorn slugged it and flashed a smile. "Sup, my name's Vinyl Scratch. You probably heard of me." Gingerly putting her aching hoof back down. Ugh, I know what that's like. Octavia shook her head. "No, I'm afraid I haven't." "Does DJ Pone 3 ring a bell?" Her eyebrows bounced as if to jog the cellist's memory. "No." "You need to hit some clubs then. My music guarantees a good time." "In my experience, hitting some clubs is rarely synonymous with positive emotions and experiences." The DJ cocked her head curiously. Why do you talk like that? It sounds kind of silly." Octavia frowned as she replied, "Talk like what? This is how I normally speak." Snorting back a laugh at her expression, Vinyl slowly realized she wasn't being fooled. "Oh, wow. So were you born in Canada or something?" "No, I was born here in Manhattan. Though thank you for the compliment." She preened happily at being mistaken for a Canterlot citizen. No worries." The DJ realized they clearly had very different opinions on what being from Canterlot meant. Thankfully, she was rescued by the sudden arrival of their tutor. He was a tall stallion with frizzy red hair and orange fur. Don't you mean mane? Oh well. Each step he took seemed to bounce off the ground, and his tail swished non-stop with boundless energy. Every iota of his being screamed, "Let's get ready to learn." The ponies shuffled inside and took their seats at 3 large tables arranged in an abstract manner. Octavia smartly sat next to her acquaintance and pulled out her notepad and pen, while Vinyl sighed and dumped her saddlebags on the desk. "All right, folks, let's get the introduction out of the way. My name is Psych." "Yeah, I know. What were my parents thinking?" He laughed. Alone. "Still, it turns out they had some incredible foresight, because this is a psychology course, and I'm your tutor. How crazy is that?" He laughed again, and still no pony joined in. Not even the slightest bit put off, he continued, "You're a quiet bunch, aren't you? Don't worry, I'll soon fix that. Let's do a bit of a game to get to know each other." Finally, an audience reaction. Every pony groaned at the same time. Octavia rolled her eyes at their immaturity and decided to opine on the subject. "Honestly, what did any of you expect? This is the first week of the course." Psych shrugged. "She has a point, you know. This is pretty standard." "That doesn't mean we have to like it," grumbled Vinyl, to the murmured assent of surrounding ponies. "Oh, I'm sure you'll like it just fine. However," he gestured to Octavia and the DJ, "I saw you two talking on the way in, so I'm afraid I'm going to need to move you. There's no point in doing a friend-making activity with some pony who is already your friend, after all." As the cellist started to interject with the fact that they had only just met, Vinyl quickly floated her bags across to an empty desk on the other side of the room. "So long, Octavia." Octavia. "My name is Octavia." "Whatever." The unicorn trotted to her new place. Psych observed the exchange with great interest and a small smile. Shaking his head, he once again brought attention back to himself. "I want you all to talk to the person next to you and learn as much as you can. Then, in 10 minutes, you will introduce them to the class." The activity ended up taking a lot longer than 10 minutes, as Psych had too much fun listening to all of the different conversations. Finally, he stopped them and began introductions. Most were fairly accurate, with the main issue being mispronunciation of the names. "This is, Vinyl Hatch?" a small mare said nervously. "Scratch! Vinyl, scratch! Get it right." hollered the DJ. I'm so sorry, she squeaked. This is Vinyl Scratch, and she makes electronic music and performs in clubs sometimes. Sykes stomped the ground in appreciation. Great work, Lily Cup. A general rumble of praise emanated from the class as the anxious pony sat down into her chair gratefully. Now, Octavia, how about you introduce your hopeful new friend here? As you wish. The grey mare stood up straight. This is Bon Bon. She enjoys making various kinds of confectionery treats. She is taking this psychology course to help her learn to attract more ponies to her store, such as what colors are more likely to attract attention and what not. Excellent job, Octavia. Very succinct. The mare smiled at the praise and sat back down. Bon Bon, would you kindly introduce Octavia to us? With a dark blue mane and pink highlights, Bon Bon looked like a stereotypical university student, the kind that would be on advertisements explaining the values of pursuing an education. This is Octavia. She is studying musical theory and history and plays the violin, she said hopefully. Cello, actually. Oh, sorry. Vinyl piped up from across the room. Hang on, I'm doing musical theory too, and I haven't seen you at the lectures or the toots. Toots. Why in Equestria are you doing musical theory? The refined pony replied incredulously. I'm a DJ. Didn't you hear little Miss Shyface over here? Being a DJ hardly requires extensive education. The buck did you just say? This is gonna get good, I can tell. The tutor reluctantly stepped in. Easy, you two. I know for a fact that there are 2 musical theory classes, one classical and the other modern. There's no need to start arguing. I'm sure you have something in common, considering both of you are musically oriented. Oh yeah, we both like modern music. Oh, whoops, you like classical, don't you, Octavia? Shame. How does it feel knowing a monkey can be trained to play your cello? I saw it at the circus once. The DJ stuck out her tongue. Modern? All that clanging and dumping is more akin to the primitive ponies slapping rocks with sticks. You have more in common with the monkey than me, you ape. Clearly offended, the dark-maned pony wasn't going to just take that insult to her music. Vinyl stood up so quickly her chair fell over. What did you call me, snob? Rising as well, Octavia held her ground. I called you an ape. At least an ape knows how to loosen up, prude. Oh yes, you would know all about being loose, raver hussy. Oh snap. A chorus of gasps accompanied the DJ's jaw-dropping in surprise, but she quickly recovered and narrowed her eyes before stepping closer to the cellist. All you do is rub strings with a stick, and you call me primitive? I make music with sounds you can't even comprehend, let alone enjoy. Octavia's face scrunched up into a scowl as she stepped even closer. What kind of charlatan are you? It takes skill to make music. Vinyl also moved towards the target of her anger, violently squashing the absurd urge to lunge to laugh that she always got when some pony yelled at her. I know what you're talking about. I do that all the time when people shout at me. It made encounters with the high school principal tense, to say the least. Are you calling me fake? She said dangerously. The sight of the proud grey ponies swallowing before replying was satisfying. Clearly, the DJ was still able to intimidate skillfully. I'm not calling you a fake, but I'm saying that making your music doesn't take even half the skill as playing the cello does. To make up for lost ground, she took another step forward and brought her face to face with the furious unicorn. With her cheeks flushed from shouting and her nose crinkled in distaste, Octavia looked more than a bit amusing. Vinyl opened her mouth to say as much when the tutor finally stepped in again, clearly thinking she was about to go for the throat. Oh my Oh, Celestia. Oh, oh, that was good. Go for the throat. Alright, ladies, let's dial it down a notch. As much as I love having two complete opposites arguing in my class, and believe me, I love it. I feel the need to stop this before it goes too far. Now that the tension was broken, the two mayors looked around and noticed they had captured the rapt attention of the entire class. Vinyl chuckled awkwardly and scratched the back of her head as she returned to her seat, while Octavia merely adjusted her mane and gracefully rejoined her table. Taking back control of his classroom, Psych clapped his hooves together. Right, that was a fantastic demonstration of conflicting personalities. I hope you were all taking notes. The ponies scrambled to write down anything they could remember. This presents a very unique opportunity for our class. Real-life studies go a lot further than textbooks, you know. Oh boy, is that right. He paused for a moment to collect his thoughts, glancing at the clock on the wall. Well, we don't have time to get into anything right now, but I have an idea for next week. As Pony started packing up, he outlined his master plan. Octavia, I want you and Vinyl to spend time together on the weekend. What? They all shouted in unison, making the rest of the class crack up. You want me to spend time with her? Exclaimed Octavia. Yeah, I was planning on having fun this weekend, Vinyl added, earning a glare from across the room. Because, Psych explained patiently. Oh, excuse me. This is a great opportunity to learn or to study how a relationship can change over time, for better or worse. Oh, excuse me. Got a frog in my throat. Oh, how redneck am I? Oh, back to the story. We will compare our notes from today with your behavior on Monday, then draw conclusions and make predictions based on that data. In fact, I may get you two to hang out together rather frequently, so we have more data points. This isn't strictly on the set coursework, but I think it will be a fun little side project. Take psychology, they said. Teacher's nice, they said, muttered Vinyl, violently shoving her notepad into a saddlebag. Oh, wait, unicorn. The tutor chuckled. I'm sure it won't be that bad. Who knows, you might actually find some common ground. I highly doubt that. Octavia latched her bags and lifted them onto her back. What do you suggest we do then? Psych shrugged. Go to a bar, watch a movie, walk around town. As long as you're together, it shouldn't matter. Drinking it is, declared. She would say that, declared the DJ. Alcohol will either make you normal or intolerable. I am willing to take that risk, muttered the cellist as she followed the other ponies out of the room. But I choose where we go, she called over her shoulder. Vinyl sighed and trotted after her. As they walked into the boiling sun and started climbing the hill into the main court, she forced herself to walk next to Octavia. All right, let's get one thing clear. I'm gonna give you my number, but under no circumstances I either text or call me unless it's about our plans. Capiche? A pen and paper surrounded by white floated in front of her and began scribbling. Agreed. The same goes for my number as well. As the unicorn tore off some paper and slipped it into the Grey Mare's bag, she simultaneously held out the pen and pad. They stopped for a few seconds so she could write, managing some impressive calligraphy, considering the pen was held in her mouth. Then kept walking when she finished. Very well, try not to hand it out to any friends of ill repute by accident. Whatever. I'll call you sometime tomorrow and we'll go from there. Yeah? Try to make it at a reasonable hour, would you? Not all of us are used to staying up until 4 in the morning on a cocktail of alcohol and caffeine. Oh, that is not a good idea. Alcohol and caffeine is like getting in your car, turning on the parking brake, and slamming the gas. You're gonna mess that stuff up really quickly. Shove it up your flank. Shove it up your flank, Octavia. With that, the pair parted ways on the grassy court. The cellist to her next class and the DJ to her home. They didn't know it yet, but their lives were already changing, dancing to the tune of conflict and inexorably approaching something that neither of them had ever dreamed of. Well, that was certainly a very interesting first chapter. I don't think I have it in me to do another one quite yet, so I will do that tomorrow. Or perhaps very late tonight. Oh, look, there's an author's note. He says there's an Allegres reference in this chapter. Leave a comment if you caught it, or just let me know what you think. Again, the pony responsible for this is Dawnfade on filmfiction.net. Be sure to give them a nice little comment on that if you read this or listen to it. Reading someone listening, listening to someone reading something. Inception. Blah. Catch you later, ponies. Nightlife out.